The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Oh, I try to do it and I spray the whole goddamn table. Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, the show where you get all your nerddom news and commentary. I'm your host and superior webhead master, Jarod Bachman-Subs, and joining me, as always, is your resident Green Lantern Professor, Travis Grossman.
I don't have a can this week because the new Bajas came out, and we are trying them. Yeah, there's two of them. There's a punch. There's punch and pina colada.
Pina colada?
I have tried the punch. That's what this one is.
Okay.
I tried it last night. It's very good. We had a second one, so I'm going to drink it now.
Interesting. See, I'm already going into like, what can I mix that with mode? Yeah, we got some news for you guys. We also got... I found that on TikTok, and I put that in our deck of shit to play because I have no self-restraint. And you know what? Being on Bombadcast a couple weeks ago made me realize that with StreamYard, we can have so many video bits if we wanted to.
Yeah.
And I'm working on that. So we got stalled out bow cackles. Speaking of which, we're gonna the whole team's gonna be getting together to watch Inside on Wednesday, and I'm excited for it. For no other reason than I think watching it again will help me finally get Jeffrey Bezos out of my head. Every week it's been a different one. Like last week,
it's the best one. I had to pause it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I was told about this.
The scream hit, and I had to pace the room. I had to walk. Like it was perfect because I was like, okay, yeah, he's doing a bit about Bezos. Got it. Ah!
Last week, and this won't be a surprise to anybody, I was just walking around the house singing Sokko's verse of How the World Works. Like, I'd just be alone coming down the steps. The simple narrative taught in every history class is like, it would hit me and I would have to start singing it out loud.
We've all been singing it at work too.
Good. I'm really, really glad. I can see you getting on top of the of the bell. Just the FBI killed Martin Luther King. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to sitting down and watching it with everybody all at once. Because we're just starting tangentially and just bullshitting for a second here. I already am getting an idea as to what my Spotify Wrapped is going to look like this year. Because between Leave the Door Open coming out, a new Brockhampton album, new J. Cole, new Weezer, and this week or next week, Tyler, the Creator's dropping a new album. So, like, I can already tell all the shit I'm going to have on repeat, and then Inside is just going to come out of left field completely. Like, I've fallen
to, and this existential comedy album is now the top of your list.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, oh, it's just like pop punk and hip hop. No surprise. And then it's just like, this is depressing and hilarious. I don't know what it says about me that there are several nights over the past week where I fell asleep at night listening to it on Spotify. Just straight up, just put it on. And I was like, oh yeah, this is something that you should fall asleep listening to.
Really beat it into yourself.
Really, really subconsciously have this in your mind. I've also been having horrible dreams over the past week, but I'm sure those two things aren't correlated at all.
Not at all. Not a bit.
No, there's no way it could be. But yeah, speaking of waking nightmares, we got a trailer for Titan Season 3. And
we sure did.
Listen, I have nothing for respect for some of our comic book covering colleagues. But some of y'all were a little too nice to this trailer. And maybe Travis and I have made it a part of our career to put this show in the dirt every chance we get. And I haven't even seen it yet.
Like, I know that I'm the oddball for really disliking this show comparatively. Although I was looking, and the average review for Season 2 is pretty low.
Yeah.
Because everyone got really bored halfway through when nothing was happening. Which is fair. Which is proof they have no idea what they're doing with the plot of this show, as is this trailer. Because apparently we are both getting Death in the Family and some form of Red Hood in the same season.
Which is impressive, I said this before, have not seen the show, so like any theorizing I do about Titans should not be taken that seriously. But I said before, I was like, I bet this show opens with Jason getting the shit bit out of him, and then there's a time skip.
That's the thing, though. With this show, there might not even be a time skip. It might be like 2 weeks.
Jason, it's literally at the funeral is whenever he shows up in the Red Hood outfit.
And like the thing is that there could be a time skip because like nobody ages, right?
Yeah.
The Dick Grayson.
It's not like they're trying to keep it the teen Titans anyway, so they can really play with time however they want to.
Yeah, but the problem is like 18-year-old Dick Grayson should, in theory, look younger, or like 20-year-old, but however old he is in the flashbacks in Season 2, should look younger than like almost 30 Dick Grayson, or however old he is. That's the other problem. I have no idea how old any of these people are, except for like Raven is definitely 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Because she was in high school at the start. So, like, I have no idea what's going on with any of these characters in terms of age or timeline or whatever. On top of the fact that it just wouldn't make any sense. Why is...
I think the Red Hood outfit, like whenever we saw this, like the photo art of it, it looked good. In motion, it looks awful, in my opinion. The helmet looks weird.
With that, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. They just happened to pick a really bad couple of frames. And like in that shot, the way the angle is, the mask just looks really awkward because like it did look really good in the concept art. And I'm willing to bet that like, because like the costumes all look pretty good in the show regardless.
Yeah.
And then like there's no way to not have an angle at some point that makes your costume look goofy, especially on TV. Like it happens all the time. So
it was the eyes. It's the eyes that are getting me. It looks like, and I don't mean this as a slight to any Red Hood cosplayers, because I know a lot of people who cosplay Red Hood, this was their first helmet. So this isn't like me talking shit, but also I don't know what the budget is for Titans, but I know it's better than doing I'm going to buy an Iron Man helmet and paint it all red.
That's what you'd think, but
like I'm sorry, it was the eyes. The eyes look friggin' huge.
The helmet looked awkwardly. Yeah, it's just like, and the reason I'm giving them the benefit of that on that, like I'm sounding like I'm being nice. Starfire's costume looks really good. It looks like how it looked in the concept art, right? So like I'm willing to wait and see how it looks in motion, which implies I'm going to watch the season because I hate myself. But
you're not going in alone this time.
I just hate so much. I hate that they were. Death in the Family isn't a Titan story.
No,
like they don't even need to be adapting the comics, right? And that's the thing I want to get across. I'm not mad because like there's so many weird angles to be upset about this from. Where like Death in the Family isn't a Titan story; it revolves around Bruce, and their Bruce is ancient, right?
Jorah Mormont, Bruce Wayne.
So like already we have the problem of at this point Bruce is getting ready to retire. Why is he taking on another Robin? He has time. So yeah, there has to be a time skip. There has to be.
Because we're getting Tim Drake too, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Like of course I say that. I don't know how long Dick was gone before he took on Jason, but it couldn't have been that long. Right? Because Dick doesn't know.
Bitches!
Because Dick didn't know about Jason when he shows up in season 1. He's like
he was too busy doing flips.
Yeah, he's too busy flipping around in Detroit as a detective. Having like an exact replica of a scene from Daredevil. And running people's heads across glass like they're not gonna like be permanently scarred or die. But yeah, it's like the timing just seems weird. So either there's a time skip, and then we're not going to see the Titans being Titans, which is what the show should be about, or we're going to see the Titans being Titans, and then in the span of like a week, Jason gets killed, comes back to life, and Tim gets brought on by Bruce, which takes a while. Like the only reason Bruce ever takes Tim on is because Tim like pushes hard and is like, hey, I'm a better, like, he doesn't say this, but he proves that he's a better detective than Bruce.
Yeah.
Right? So, on top of the fact that now we're getting a story in Gotham, and that's not where the Titan stories should be, right? It's turning into a Bat Family show. It's turning into, like, they just don't know what they want to do. On top of the fact that they don't have a budget, because they don't want to turn Beast Boy into anything but a tiger. Right? Like, you look at their lineup right now. Because Raven's off doing whatever. She'll come back later this. Like, she's on the cast for the season and she has a new costume. But, like, they don't know what to do for her powers. They don't want to turn Beast Boy into anything but a tiger. Superboy, you just have to do, like, Flash stuff. Right? Make him jump high, make him fast, give him super strength. That's not that hard to do with effects, right? Starfire, you give her fire.
I don't know. I've seen some clips from the recent episodes of The Flash that were hard to look at.
I'm blaming the CW falling apart at the seams on that one.
I mean, that's fair.
I mean, Titans has some rough ones too, specifically with Donna, because like super speed's just really hard to do in live action.
Yeah.
Like if you're not dead set on what it's going to look like, or like mechanically how it's going to work, you know?
Yeah.
But like Starfire doesn't fly. All these things that like should just be their usual power set aren't there because they don't want to pay to do the effects. At least that's what I assume, right? Because nowhere am I like, okay, we're going to have this classic lineup. Raven's powers are going to be amorphous blobs that make no sense. Beast Boy can only turn into one beast. And Starfire can't fly and barely knows how her powers work. And then there's Robin. Right? Like that was their premise.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it. Yeah, I was watching this trailer, I had this like little moment of like comical dread because I'm like, oh man, this is the season I'm going to watch. Like this is the one I'm watching with Travis because I made my boy a promise. I'm not letting him do it alone again. And yeah. I like everything you said before. Like I was never truly sold on this show. And then everything you said really was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely skipping this.
Like I wasn't, when I started it was because of all of the like, it's actually good or it's way better. Like that scene was taken out of context. And blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, I have DC Universe now. I might as well give it a shot. And then I just got so encapsulated by how dog shit it was.
We owe some of our favorite moments in podcasting talking shit on Titans, that there's a part of me that loves it for what it is. It's like it's like what Mobius says to Loki in the first episode, where he's like, you're an agent of pain and suffering meant to allow others to become their best selves. Like, I feel like that's how Titans is for us as content creators. So on some level, Titans, we love you. But not really. Not enough for you the show notes to not read Titans season 3 lol.
Get your shit together, Titans.
Get your shit together. You're messing around with characters we like. Do better. But yeah, also, do you think we're actually going to see the Joker? Like, more than just his back?
No. They're not going to play around with that. It's the same reason we haven't seen Batman be Batman. Like, we've seen Bruce Wayne. Because you can cast anybody as Bruce Wayne. That's fine. But, like, to get somebody that looks good in the suit, that is practical in combat, does a Batman voice well, right?
Yeah.
Like, that takes a lot. That takes, Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, whatever. They're not going to futz around with doing the Joker. We'll get a laugh, maybe a couple lines by a Mark Hamill impersonator, and then that'll be that.
I am looking forward to seeing what happens, because there's a part of me that's hoping you're wrong and that they go for it. Like, really go for it.
Yeah, I'm not saying they can't or that they won't, because like maybe that's the thing they stick to, right? I don't know.
I feel like with these shows, there's a weird will they, won't they show this thing? Like, will they acknowledge its existence, right? And I feel like that exists more for DC shows than Marvel shows. Because for Marvel shows, it feels like everything's on the table all the time. Like, anything could happen. But like with DC shows, like with The Flash, for example, it's a big deal when you get name drops.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, like within the CW verse, this exists.
That's kind of how DC operates, is in their... because they don't do like the one universe thing. So like in their different shows, they do like, they drop things to establish where you are in like the general DC timeline, or to establish like, hey, maybe things are different, right? In the the movie animated universe, right? We established that Bruce has only ever had one Robin before Damian, right? It's only Dick. In Young Justice, we never see Jason get killed. We never even get introduced to Jason. But we are shown that he has been a Robin and died between the two seasons. And so, like, little things like that establish, because I think DC has more of those, like, because of Batman and Superman being the most popular superheroes of all time, right? Like, you have the, like, has Superman died yet? Has Jason died yet? What Robin is Batman on? What's Bruce's current relationship with Catwoman? Are all of these villains in play yet? Right? Like that kind of thing, that have their iconic moments attached to them, that they like to play with that more and then build around it. If that makes sense.
And I feel like, and I don't know, from the limited amount of DC TV watching I have mixed opinions about it. Like, I know whenever I was watching The Flash, like when I was steady on The Flash, I was kind of like, I loved, but also kind of was perturbed by every time that they like inched towards going, there's going to be a Justice League here eventually. You know? Mm-hmm. Where it's, where DC Barry's listening to the news thing from the future. Barry Allen, founding member of the Justice, and it all comes to a screeching halt when they say justice, and you don't know what the next word is. You don't know if it's society, League, League of America. Like, you don't know what they're about to say. And, or like whenever Supergirl first shows up in The Flash or whatever, she's like, oh yeah, my cousin. So we directly acknowledge Superman. My cousin knew some vigilante guy who loved his gadgets. Where it's like, that's a Batman. That's a Batman.
Well,
you know, or like Harley Quinn laughing in the Argus prison, shit like that.
And like that was more with Supergirl, especially. They were playing around a lot more because they were on a different Earth for a long time.
Yeah,
they had more room to play with the idea of like, because Superman, that was the whole premise. Like Superman has existed for years, and part of the thing is Supergirl finding her own stride. The only reason the Harley laugh is there is because they couldn't actually pay to get Harley on the show.
Yeah, because Warner Brothers is also like, we're going to do a movie of this, so you can't even mention it. So we're gonna tank your entire Suicide Squad plot line.
But yeah, I'm not excited for season 3 of Titans. I think it's going to be bad. I can't wait to make fun of it.
We're gonna do it together, buddy. We got this. Moving on to our next story. Going to directly address my name for the show for our video listeners. I am not happy with how much I like these set photos because I am angry about this movie. Listen, I'm just going to... What the fucking ad came through? I'm just going to say it now. Ezra Miller, why did you chokeslam that lady? Please acknowledge the fact that you chokeslammed this lady. Warner Brothers, please acknowledge the chokeslamming. And can we just like acknowledge it and talk about it and figure out what the hell happened? Because now part of me is excited for The Flash. And I don't want to be excited about The Flash. Because there's some really cool stuff here. For example, Sasha, again, Kaye, I'm not sure how to say her name exactly. Her Supergirl costume. Incredible. Looks amazing. Looks like the future version of Supergirl where it's Clark Kent and Lois's kid. Tom King actually like tweeted out this picture next to the picture of that version of Supergirl that he helped to create. And he was like, oh shit, this is one of mine that are in the movie now. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
The suit looked incredible. You and I were talking about whether or not it will have a cape or where it will drape down. I love this costume so much. Absolutely love the design on that. We have Barry, whom, nothing too notable except for the fact that he is clearly wearing the Flash ring.
Yeah.
And the implication that we're going to get the kind of comic book nonsense where his ring or his costume is going to shoot out of his ring. I love it. I love it so much. We also have a photo of him with Iris, which is interesting. And in the same shot of him with Iris, we also have Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne in the crowd as well. So this already has me asking a lot of questions as to what's going on timeline-wise. Because it seems like all within the same scene, we see old man Michael Keaton Bruce, Barry with Iris on the steps, and Supergirl all in the same scene. And I'm curious if this is the alternate timeline where we're seeing old man Bruce. Probably, yeah. But he has the ring, which means he hasn't lost his powers yet. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he won't lose his powers in this version, in this clear attempt to adapt the Flashpoint. But yeah, no, I was I'm very much liking these set photos. Travis, how are you feeling?
They're set photos. I think the costume's going to look cool for Supergirl. Besides that, I think the suit they have Ezra Miller's too big, and that's kind of funny.
Yeah, he does look like he's wearing his dad's clothes.
Besides that, they're just set photos. I don't usually get too excited about set photos. Just like having final, like actual confirmation that Keaton is there, right? I guess that's cool. But plus, again, I'm not excited for this movie at all. Like, I don't want it to. I want it to fail, and not because I want, like, I just want to be right. Like, it's my own need to be right that I was like, this movie will never make it. It's going to die somewhere in production, but now I'm losing that fight. So...
Yeah, I don't think it's going to die in production. I think I don't think we're going to have that come to fruition. But it's still. I don't know. I feel like in the same way that people are talking about how Tom Holland is going to end up with like third billing in his own Spider-Man movie. That like the pull for this movie is that Michael Keaton's in it as Batman. And we have a really cool looking Supergirl, and it's going to be the curtain call for Batfleck. So I hate to say it, but I do think I will be surprised if when this comes out, it does not do well. Reviews are another conversation. Like, it could be abysmal. But, like, as much as I'm with you, I want to root against it, if for no other reason than the whole Ezra Miller fiasco pisses me off to no end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if tomorrow they change the actor for Barry, I'm Team Flash.
All of a sudden, this is a whole different story.
1,000,000,000% behind this movie. But I want to know what the hell happened.
Well, even if they come out tomorrow and like the person that it like happened to, of course they probably signed an NDA or something, but like, yeah, it was just goofing around. People were drunk. There was no hard feelings, and like,
if that person came out, yeah, exactly. Like, if they came out tomorrow and was like, "Hey, I'm cool with Ezra Miller. What happened. Like, we were drunk and pissing around, or
like he didn't hurt me. It was very like, it was joking, right?
Yeah.
Or, like, playful or whatever. Like that's
Or there was like a private apology and everything's been smoothed over, and or whatever. And like, we got word from the person this happened to of like, hey, stand down. I'm Team Flash. I want this movie to do well. And at this rate, I think it might. I think box office is going to be kind of Flash. Like, now that we know for sure that this is not going to be dead on arrival on the production side, I don't think this is going to be a failure. As much as I want there to be a big L, a lightning bolt shaped L on Ezra Miller's record, I don't think we're going to get it. But moving on to another DC related story, another one that is definitely not going to be an L for anybody. We got our first look now at the entire Shazamily. Everybody got new upgraded costumes, all very much in the same style as the new suit for Billy's outfit. Everybody looks great. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about that.
They look good. Movie's going to be good.
They look great. Yeah, they look great. Movie's going to be good. Suits look cool.
Someone's going to get left at the carnival. It's fine.
God, I can't wait to go back to making that joke again.
Just leave my kid at the carnival. Everything's going to be fine.
This is months ago. I just got the urge because I just want to listen to it again because I was like, there was something funny that happened in it. And I can't remember what, that I went back and I listened to what I think was technically the final episode of Hall of Heroes. Yeah. Months ago. And because it was dead at work. Like, there was nobody in the bar. I was by myself. And I was bursting at the seams laughing because you did not let up on the carnival jokes. Like you just had like 18 locked and loaded and just firing from the hip. And I remember I was like, I cannot wait for a Shazam sequel just because I want to hear more Carnival jokes. And I'm glad that we're already starting them. Moving forward with a project I keep forgetting exists. This is an exclusive from Deadline. Tom Spezialy inks overall deal with Amazon Studios and joins Marvel's Silk as showrunner. Spezialy, again, not sure how to say that name, coming off a run as executive producer on HBO's Emmy-winning limited series Watchmen, has signed an overall deal with Amazon Studios. Under the pact, we have come to know that he has joined Silk, the Sony TV live-action Marvel show, which is reportedly headed to Amazon Prime Video as SVOD distributor. So yeah, I'm really curious as to where this is going. Silk is a newer character in the Marvel pantheon and in the Spider-Man Web Warrior Spider-Verse type branch of characters. I will say there is I would have liked to have seen a I'll just say, like, Cindy Moon Silk is Korean American, and like they're not kind of being that background with the behind the camera side. Like, granted, it's the showrunner position. Who knows what we get for directors and writers? Mm-hmm. I hope that we end up with writers of Korean descent. But and that's one side of it. And this is kind of brings me back to the conversation we had whenever Oscar Isaac, whenever you were cast as Moon Knight. That, like, on one hand, cool representation because he is Latino, and he's also probably one of the best actors working right now. He's damn good, and he's going to be great as Mark Spector. But also, could we get a Jewish actor to play Mark? Mm-hmm. So there's that weird, like, double-edged sword where it's like, this is a phenomenal actor for great for this project, but we could have done this. I'm kind of the same here, where it's like he has that Watchmen credit, which goes a long way, but also. But nonetheless, we'll see how things pan out. I'm very excited for Silk. I think this is going to fall into what we were just talking about with the DC TV shows, that we're going to get like little nuggets and implications about what all has happened in this universe that Silk will be set in, that will give us hints as to what is actually going on in the realm of the Spider-Man universe, as it were. Our last story, and okay, so quickie programming note that isn't going to matter for another 2-3 weeks anyway, but it occurred to me that we are going to be camping during the opening weekend of Black Widow.
Ha.
And in the next coming weeks, we're going to be banking up some bonus content to satiate you guys while we are kicking it in the woods. But Black Widow review will probably be our first show back on this show.
Mm-hmm.
In that realm. But it did just occur to me that is like all of that's happening in the span of a week.
Yeah.
So, which I just thought was funny. But because Black Widow is on the horizon and people have apparently finally seen the movie, lucky them, I got to figure out how to get our hands on screeners. I'm going to start bribing people. I want screeners. We have our first reactions to it. So, we have Kat Combs. Yas, at Marvel, this is the solo female film we've been looking for. Black Widow has the chemistry, the action, the story. On point, ScarJo's Black Widow has finally got the movie and ending she deserved. I forgot how much I missed watching Avenger movies. Nora Dominic says, might be one of my favorite solo origin movies in the MCU. There's something about seeing Natasha finally get her story that made me emotional in all the best ways. Also, Florence Pugh was born for the MCU, and her dynamic with Scarlet is a triumph. Devin Coogan, or Coggin, rather, because there's two G's. My Black Widow review is that if you're able to see this one in theaters, I highly recommend it. It's a total joy, and it is made even better by getting to experience all the laughs and gasps and thrills with other people. Also, Florence Pugh rules incredibly hard, extremely hard. Eric Davis says, Marvel movies are back. Black Widow is a tense, action-packed spy thriller that truly completes Natasha's story in a visceral and emotional way. Florence Pugh crushes it, and it is an instant MCU icon. This is the MCU's Bond movie with shades of Mission Impossible and Thelma and Louise. Other few points. Yes, there's a post-credit scene, so stick around. David Harbour is hilarious and a major scene stealer. Takes place after Civil War, so lots of Avenger references. If this is Scarlett's final performance as Natasha Romanoff, it's a great way to go out. Got one more here from a favorite of mine, Mr. Hector Navarro, former Inner Geekdom player.
Former Inner Geekdom champion, right?
Yes, I think you're right. Actually. I think he was belted at one point. I got to see Black Widow last night, and as someone who's been waiting since 2010 to see Natasha Romanoff get her own movie, it was well worth the wait. The action rips, the emotion hits, and the new characters joining the MCU are standouts. And then in all caps, more Black Widow movies, please. So, yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any other name. Oh, yeah, Brandon Davis says, Black Widow is one of Marvel's best solo films, start to finish. The movie is great, excellent surprises, emotional character moments, badass action, and Scarlett Johansson finally gets to pour everything into the role. Director Kate Shortland nailed it. Bravo. So, okay, this is the actual last one because I see Perry Nemiroff. Dug Black Widow a great deal. Was kind of worried about watching the story unfold, knowing what's to come in Endgame, but that might diminish the stakes, but it wasn't the case. In fact, this is kind of a prequel story that feels bound to enhance other installments of the MCU. So, by the sound of it, got a very wide swath of different voices here, all heaping similar praise on Black Widow. And this is something that excites me very, very much.
I mean, we knew that that's what the reviews would be. I'd be worried for Florence Pugh's character if they weren't saying, like, she was made for the MCU, or, like, she's going to do, like, people are saying she will be good if she continues to be in, which means she doesn't die, because usually if in reviews a side character is getting consistent praise, that means they die. I remember when Rogue One came out and people were like, oh, K2SO, man, absolute scene stealer, best character in the movie. And I'm like, that droid is dead. I didn't piece together that they'd all be dead, but like, it took a minute. I remember, I think I've told this story when Jarod Emway, I remembered his name for the first time ever. When he's like doing his walk and doing his chant, and that was the point it clicked, and I went, oh, they're all gonna die. Like there's so yeah, I'd be worried for her, but
you know who I am worried about?
Yeah,
I'm worried about Red Guardian. Like,
he only got one. Only one person was like absolute scenes, and like that's not to say that he won't be. But like, if everybody was like, dude, Red Guardian, hilarious, amazing, best part of the movie, he's dead.
Gone.
Deader than dead.
Beheaded by the Taskmaster.
Drawn and quartered.
My drawn and also my quartered. But yeah, no, very excited for the Black Widow hype. I am excited to see it. What I'm hoping to do, fingers crossed, is I don't know what time all of us will be getting back from camp on Friday. But there's a part of me that wants to be like, all right, everybody go home. Everybody get cleaned up. Take a nap. We're seeing Black Widow tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't do that, see it Monday before we record and then come back and I'll record a review. Either way, I'm very excited for this, and it is finally dawning on me how close we are to Black Widow, and how close we are to the cinematic return of the MCU, and seeing movies in theaters without like kind of being butthole clenched about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. With that, we're going to talk about the MCU a little bit more and talk about this most recent episode of Loki.
It's rough because now it comes out on a day where I can watch it free. Like, I can watch Loki the day it comes out, and it's not a hindrance to me. It's fantastic.
I'm so happy.
And then I have
space for you.
And then I have to wait a week to talk about it, and I don't remember anything that happened.
You got to go back to taking notes. You got to go back to taking notes. I also missed Travis notes. I also missed like notes. Hilariously out of context notes.
I can tell you what the funniest one would have been. Because I did not think in the opening scene, right, when the variant's doing the thing, I'm like, oh, who is that? And I went, oh, it's another Loki, I bet, like as a joke. And then the next scene, remember, we're hunting a Loki variant. Oh.
I loved the opening, not just because it had probably one of my favorite songs of all time in it. It was funny because I remember all the same people who always get their screeners. Somebody made a joke where they were like, be warned, they play Holding Out for a Hero in this show. So just be ready to go ape shit when it comes on. And I forgot. And I was watching the episode at work on my phone. No one was in. My head's like on a swivel. And I'm like waiting for the door to open. And as I'm like looking because I heard a noise, I just heard the dun dun da 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 da, and I like almost threw my phone in excitement. I was like, oh, like Loki's gonna do some shit, and I wasn't wrong. I thought it was gonna be
right the way you thought it would be. Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be Loki Prime doing some like hero shit, like because I know like obviously like there's that edit that there's like the one TikTok meme where it's like what scene in a movie is made better by different music, and then like the general consensus is you take the Ben Solo scene from The Rise of Skywalker and you put Holding Out for a Hero in it, and it is inherently the best scene in all of cinema. I thought we were gonna get that for Loki. It was gonna be him with his twin daggers just wrecking shit with his knives, but no, it was still a cool fight.
I like that they almost gave those back to him. They're like, nope, not yet.
Oh my god, I am loving Hunter B13. I just love her whole like.
Is it B13 or B15?
You're 15, probably. You're probably right.
I only know because of she's named in the subtitles.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. But no, just the way he's like, hey, you might need these. No. I love her chemistry with Loki and Mobius. I will say, last week, we said it was like right after you got off the call, we called female Loki. I was starting to consider it. I want to get the actor's name correct. But the week before Loki started airing, Sophia Di Martino. The week before Loki started airing, there was like a post that Disney Plus put out or whatever that had his like little prisoner info thing on it, and in gender it said fluid. And I was like, oh, like, and that's a canonical thing with Loki. That's neat. And then they were like, we're hunting a Loki variant. And then they didn't show us the Loki variant's face in the first episode. And I was like, that's why they put that Loki's gender fluid. Because it's going to be a woman. And I was like, I got Loki. I was looking at the screen. I saw Loki. I got Joel I was explaining it to Joel. And he was like, okay, I'm down for that. I was like, now I don't think we're going to see this in episode 2. I think this is a bigger reveal. I don't know if we're going to get this next week, but I think it's going to be female Loki.
End of episode 2 makes sense. You know, we got to say, I don't know how many episodes Loki's got, but 6. That makes sense. 6? Oh, only 6.
Yeah, we're getting like Falcon and the Winter Soldier 6-episode run.
I guess that makes sense because they're an hour. They're 50 minutes each. So, but yeah, that makes sense then. 2 is probably like if it was 8, it would have been at the end of 3. If it was 12, it would have been at the end of 4. You know, kind of thing. I love the concept that Loki is a common commodity at the TVA. And like Owen Wilson's character is specifically like, I hunt Lokis.
I have become the Loki guy at the office.
I hunt Lokis and I like jet skis. That, I don't know if that's a comic thing with Mobius.
I don't think so.
Okay, then I'm convinced that Owen Wilson put that in the script himself. Like Owen Wilson, they were like they were writing the scene of them BSing like randomly about a thing, and he like stole the script, wrote in the dialogue, handed it back, and went, "There, that's what we're doing." And everyone looked and went, "Yeah, that's good. We're keeping it."
I want to take a little quick sidebar here and again say, guys, never trust the Google cast that shows up when you Google a show when you Google a show. Don't trust the cast that it shows you. Because it said that Wolverine was in an Endgame and said that James Spader was in WandaVision.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, that never did happen.
So, looking at the Google cast.
Don't spoil it for me. Let me look.
Well, I was just going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 12, I think, here we've seen so far. But in the top row that is made up of mostly people we've seen, Richard E. Grant is listed. I must have forgotten he was cast in this. For anyone unfamiliar, Richard E. Grant played Allegiant General Pride in The Rise of Skywalker, the guy who hits General Hux with the Space Blicky. Also listed here are Mark Ruffalo, Jeremy Renner, Chester Thompson, and Frank Grillo. I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on those last 4.
Well, the reason they're there, and also Clark Gregg is on there too. It's from the opening scene. I didn't hit show more. It's from the opening scene and from the like them watching Loki's life. I think they have to credit them.
Yeah, but then like the rest, like Chris Evans, Downey Johansson, they'd all be on here as well. Also, I don't know where Grillo's coming in.
He's in the same scene.
Did we see him though?
They're in this. Yeah, they're in the scenes from Endgame. Because remember, some of them were. There was a little bit of reshoots that they worked into the opening scene. I don't remember where I saw that. Maybe you told me that. So like maybe those actors had to be there for those reshoots to like get certain scenes right.
Maybe.
I still don't know where Tessa Thompson.
I'm still curious about what Maximiliano Hernandez is here for, because I'm curious if like Sitwell actually shows up. I'm not going to take the rest of these too seriously, but I am excited by Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, he doesn't have a named character yet, so he might show up.
I like that. But yeah, so there is debate on what we're doing with female Loki. If this is just, like they said, the variants. I'm like, like we'll use us as an example again. I'm sure there are variants of me that when they dyed their hair, it turned dark brown instead of blonde. So like you can have the naturally blonde Jarod. Maybe this is a variant of Loki that is a woman. Could also be the Sylvie Laufey route, where it's like a different person who also has like the Loki title and all that. Could also just be the way they did Lady Loki in the comics a few years ago, where they're occupying Lady Sif's a body intended for Lady Sif upon her reincarnation. There's a lot of different routes you can go with.
There was a line I found interesting when he's fighting her. When he's like getting thrown around, he's like, "I would never treat me like this," and I took that to imply that it wasn't actually a Loki. But that could just be that like this variant is so drastically different.
That's interesting because I thought that was just supposed to be a funny joke. I thought that was just supposed to be like, "Hey, me."
Well, that was my clue that when they put the hood down, it wasn't going to be Tom Hiddleston, right? That was my clue for that. But then I was like, but it would still be Loki.
Yeah, it's still a variation on Loki.
Yeah, but maybe this one, like I said, is just like so drastically different. Prefers to be a woman. Prefers has their own things they've gone through that have made them this way.
Yeah,
they're different now. Also, kudos to the actors that were being controlled.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Absolutely impressive stuff.
Yeah. Especially the big Haas guy. I think one of my favorite lines in all of MCU TV so far, one of my favorite exchanges was, "If you had any honor, you'd fight me yourself. I have shit to do." That was just such a great exchange. Those are one of those lines that I heard and I out loud went, "Oh, someone's writing the dog shit out of this show right now." There was just such a great line. "If you had any honor, you'd fight me yourself. I have shit to do." Might be my favorite. Across WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now Loki, that might be my favorite line. That is competing with what is love if not grief, grief if not love persevering. That. It is right up there with some of the brilliant shit that came out of WandaVision and some hilarious shit that came out of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Love that line so much. It was also just a great fight.
Yeah.
Too. It was just a really good fight. I love Loki force pulling the Roomba.
He is worthy of the Roomba.
He is worthy of the Roomba. Aside from that, going back to the episode itself, this isn't a slight against WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because again, I don't think you can compare those two shows, and I don't think you can fairly compare this one either. But for me as an individual, Loki figuring out they're hiding in Doomsdays.
Oh, yeah.
I was giddy. I was giggling and shaking my hands in excitement.
The way they're abusing their time travel without actually breaking any rules here, genius. Actually genius.
Except for the fact that Loki's example does not hold up at all. And he has no way of knowing that it doesn't hold up.
What do you mean?
He would be ruining the timeline by pushing the Hulk off the Rainbow Bridge.
Why?
Because the Hulk is necessary for undoing Thanos' snap. Hulk didn't die in Ragnarok. As far as Loki's concerned, because it says that most everybody died in Ragnarok, I'm sure in his mind he thinks that the Hulk died.
Maybe, or also just no, because he would have seen the Hulk on the ship.
No, because by the time that Thanos kills Loki, he would have already put Hulk on his ass.
Yeah, but he would have seen him put Hulk on his ass, is what I'm saying. He would have seen that fight. No, I think he didn't mean I'm going to push him off and kill him. I'm just going to displace him in the moment. You know what I mean?
See, I thought... So the way I interpreted the first episode, when he's zipping through his life, is that he's not getting the context of everything he's seeing. So, like, he has no way of knowing that when Thanos killed Loki, like actual Loki Prime, that the Hulk was like just gotten bifrosted down to Earth, or was about to be, and just got the shit kicked out of him. In the same way that, like, I don't think there's any way for him to know that Thor's still alive. Like, whenever the ship blows up. Because I saw one person, or I saw it on Twitter, and it was like trending or whatever, that somebody was theorizing that, like, whenever they show up during the hurricane in Alabama, that he keeps looking up and looking around during the storm because part of him is under the assumption that he and Thor died together. That, like, Thanos snapped his neck and then that ship exploded, and that he's assuming Thor died in the blast. And that Hulk probably died during Ragnarok, if Hulk was on Asgard. And that's how I interpreted that. Is it like he does not recognize what the timeline looks like aside from his personal experience up to Avengers. That's all he knows. And then now he's been told he inadvertently causes Freya's death. He gets a little bit of like, oh, Thor and I kind of make amends. We reconcile our differences to a certain extent. And then Ragnarok happens. The Hulk is involved in Ragnarok for some reason. It says that almost everybody died, so I'm going to assume that Surtur killed the Hulk. And that he only sees himself, Thor, Thanos, and the Black Order. And then would assume that, and again, and maybe I'm looking too much into it. I love his example, but also think it's interesting that he would be wrong. That, like, the Ragnarok kind of is an apocalypse that you can still mess up.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, theoretically, it's because he even says that later. Like, if somehow he had gotten all of those people to leave Pompeii, that would screw up the timeline.
Yeah.
If, such and such, such and such. Like, as long as you aren't going there and saving people or, like, actively stopping the apocalypse. But it's an easy place to go, chill out, get some food, relax for a couple days.
Yeah.
Leave in. Because, like, if you're in whatever, like 70-something AD, and they see this dude in his Guardian armor, everyone's going to be like, that's weird as shit. Wonder what that's about. Anyway, moving on with my life.
Yeah. Anyway, I am volcanic ash now. But yeah, no, but regardless, that, like, he's hiding in apocalypses because it doesn't matter what you do. That's such a clever idea. And I love the fact that they're like, and again, time is probably just a flat circle for the TVA.
Mm-hmm.
So that when Mobius says we just had a massive hole in our security pointed out to us. Pardon me, indigestion. It's like, how long has that hole been able to be exploited, though? Or like, can you even measure how long it's been able to be exploited? Like, has the TVA, for all intents and purposes, existed in a fraction of a second, but has been active for all eternity? It's so crazy and so clever, and this show is scratching my specific wants. Like, WandaVision, I had fun with it because it was a mystery, and I wanted to get to the bottom of the mystery. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a blast because I was getting to see characters I love do stuff. And it was like a very important thread of the MCU that was getting capped off. This is the kind of show that you can divorce it from the MCU and still sell me on the premise. Like, I am down for time cop bullshit and I like it even more that it's Loki Laufeyson. But yeah, I've been talking for a minute. Travis, other thoughts on the episode?
Nah, that's about it. I think your King the Conqueror theory is strengthening a little bit. At the very least, establishing him through this show. Not like we're not going to see him, obviously.
Yeah,
maybe
I
a name drop, maybe a hint. Right. Yeah, I think that's where we might be heading.
What I'm curious about is like, I'm waffling, and like I have two theories of the timekeepers that I don't think you can. I have two different theories about the timekeepers that I think aren't compatible, and it's that either the timekeepers are bullshit and don't exist, or Kang the Conqueror is one of them, or like maybe there's some weird combination where like the timekeepers were a thing, and then Kang, being one of them, usurped the rest. And the big secret about the timekeepers is that technically there's only one, and Renslayer is like keeping that from everybody, that it's just Kang.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the implication that a lot of people have been bringing up that the other consultant or analyst or whatever it is, the Mobius is talking shit about, is just more Mobiuses.
Yeah.
Because she's like, yeah, well, all of them are from you. With the rings from his cups. But yeah, phenomenal episode. I am absolutely loving this. I cannot wait for the next episode. Very much hoping we get the King the Conqueror stuff in there. And yeah, this is brilliant. This is genius, the way that they are framing the show. Okay, here's another question I want to ask you before we wrap up. When Loki ran through the time portal,
mm-hmm.
and just the conversation he has with other Loki, is he doing what he's, we get in the bit earlier in the episode where he's doing his whole, well, when you're a trickster, part of being a trickster is knowing that everybody knows you're a trickster. So anything you do has to be based around the fact that they know that you're a trickster. So you have to base everything you do around their expectations of you because you're a trickster. That like 8D trickster chess. Was he playing 8D trickster chess with Loki? Other Loki, Fem Loki. When he was talking about, I want to overthrow the timekeepers.
Oh, for sure. He's going to take whatever.
Does he mean what he's saying? Does he mean what he's saying? He's like, my plan is to become the God King of time and space.
No, I don't think so. At least not. Okay. If that's where it ends up, that's where it ends up. But right now, he just wants to like get in front of them because like he knows that at the end of this, if he doesn't like do something, he's going to get killed anyway. Like he's going to get disintegrated to fix the timeline. So getting in front of them is his only way to have that not happen, as far as he knows. If that means overthrowing them and becoming Time King, whatever, that's what he's going to do. If that means catching this Loki, getting his shot with them through Mobius and whoever, and convincing them not to kill him, there's that, right? So, like, he's kind of just playing to his outs, where he knows that, like, this Loki should be susceptible to him proposing a plan like this. Like, clearly this Loki's thinking about it. This Loki has plans involving the TVA somehow because they keep attacking. And that, like, I can use that to not get killed in this instance and maybe, like, super conduct up my way up to not dying and call it good.
Okay. I just gotten like you just kind of put an idea in my head, and I'm doing it again. I'm making this about Superior Spider-Man for a second, but follow me. Whenever you and I did our Superior Spider-Man heroic history, we were both stuck for a minute just talking about the cathartic moment that is Otto saying that Peter is the superior Spider-Man. And for all the reasons that, like, because he is the opposite of everything Otto did. That where Otto is harsh and merciless, Peter is soft and merciful, yada yada. I kind of love the idea that we keep coming back to this reoccurring almost joke about how the Loki variant they're hunting is the superior Loki, because if for no other reason, then this is the Loki that didn't get caught.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is the Loki that's up to no good and all of this. And the inferior Loki is the one that's working for the TVA, because obviously he's the inferior one. I kind of love the idea that the thing that would make our Loki, like Tom Hiddleston, the superior Loki, is the idea that he's the one who, like, is capable of change. And it seemed like just fresh off of getting shit whipped by the Hulk, Loki be the one who has a change of heart and goes, I'm not fighting for me. I'm not trying to be God King. The stakes are too high for me to let you get away with this. And I kind of like, I hope that's the direction the show goes in. And I hope that he is trying to out Loki a Loki by, doing the, join me and together we can rule the galaxy type bullshit with her. That's what I hope that's the direction I hope it goes in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
you're probably right.
I hope that's it. That it's like he is the superior Loki because he's the Loki who's willing to make the changes.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really sweet. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired of watching my dark-haired anti-heroes die viciously. But yeah, also, I'm so excited to see, like, A, plot-wise, but B, just visually where they go with the timeline bombing.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting.
Like, that's just such a cool phrase to say. They bombed the timeline. But yeah, I think that's all we got for this week. Travis, where can the lovely people find you, good friend?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political, sometimes maybe.
Sometimes maybe.
Jarod?
Yes?
Where?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552, and you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Kason Brion, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, and Zach Knaus. You guys help us make the content that we love to produce. Be sure to consider the $5 tier where you get access. I apologize. I have nasty things going on inside of my body at the moment. You can get access to Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus Series, Heroic History 101, and the Teen App Movie Club audio commentary tracks. Hopefully this week we're getting back on track with Movie Club with Indiana Jones month now that Spencer and Devin are both back at the ready. So stay tuned for that. Heroic History 101 will probably be out for July. So also eye out for that. Also, check out the TeePublic where you get access to all manner of Nerd Academy merch and goodies. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you all so very much for listening. And class dismissed.
Stop! Move away!